But we need to tell parents that we're recording too. Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Hi,
welcome.
everybody.
Wait, they're all muted though.
Yes,
Oh,
they are.
We'll just wave.
Welcome, fifth grade families. We'll go ahead and get started. We know that we're a little bit behind schedule already. We apologize for that. We do want to let you know that we are recording our presentation on the Zoom call so that we can share it with families who could not be present this evening. I'm Miss Foreman, Grace Foreman. I'm the fifth grade team lead this year, and I will be teaching reading upstairs as well as math and all of the social emotional logistics as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Ellen Corcoran. I will be teaching writing to the downstairs and also everything else like math and the homeroom.
I'm not sure if everyone, I'm Melissa Manuel. I am a downstairs teacher, and I will be teaching science to all the downstairs fifth graders as well as math to my homeroom.
I am Patrick Schulte. I'm a downstairs guy too. I'll be teaching reading to downstairs kids, and I will teach math to my homeroom and all that other home stuff as well.
I'm Jinsey Ninen. I am teaching upstairs. I am teaching math and science and all the other good homeroom stuff as well.
I am Sarah Wells. I am upstairs, so I will be teaching writing for the upstairs team as well as math and all the other homeroom stuff for my homeroom kiddos.
Great. So we want to recognize right off the bat that this year will be different than other years, but want to assure you that everything that we're doing for your students are connected to our district vision, and we're going to strive to create a positive learning environment for all students that is equitable, inclusive, and focused on the whole child. And we hope to model how to adapt and change and show patience so that our students can learn to do the same thing. And this year we will be focusing first and foremost on social emotional well-being, on creating a sense of community and belonging, on personal responsibility, leadership, and rigorous and differentiated academic instruction. Those first two bullet points are really what we've been focusing on during these first 2 weeks of school, and we will close out the week with those two as our main focus before we get into content area academics on Monday. The next two slides you've already seen in your first week at a glance, and this is posted on the fifth grade website in case you need to access it again. Quick reminder that we are in school from 8 until 3, all the way until 3 o'clock. So it is expected that your student is on the Zoom call with their teacher until the end of the day at 3 o'clock. And if you're having tech difficulties, this is also on the fifth grade website. Please have your student try again before anything else and have them restart their device if it still doesn't work. And then if it still does not work, contact Mrs. Scarzadeh. If she does not answer, contact Ms. Krikow. And finally, you might need to reach out to the district help desk. The reason for this is we are engaged with students on Zoom all day and often cannot get to emails about tech difficulties if we are actively teaching. So please follow these steps if you face tech difficulties, which I know we're all facing right now. Ms. Ninen?
Me?
Yes.
Okay, oh gosh, sorry. I am going to just talk a little bit about our PBIS remote learning expectations. This is a school-wide matrix that's on here. We have kind of talked about this and reviewed with the students and was shared in the first week at a glance. As Ms. Foreman said, we are spending a lot of time this first 8 days kind of building that community, getting them to understand what the requirements are, etc. So we kind of made a more student-friendly version of this. So this is the Zoom etiquette that has provided to all students. It's also on the fifth grade website as well. But these are the expectations that they have. They're also working on a comic strip. You might have seen them working on it. They're super excited about it, to take ownership over the Zoom expectations in like their own learning. So we're really excited to see what they come up with. But so far the submissions have been super, super cute. And it's like their little avatars and stuff. So But this is just sort of what they are expected to do, especially making sure that their device is charged, being respectful, finding their best spot to work. We know that not everything is always kosher in houses. Bath time is currently going on in mine, so you might hear some baby screaming happening, but just overall, like with virtual backgrounds especially, they're making their own space. They're also working on school expectation backgrounds as well. That being said, we have a system in place for what happens when students don't meet their Zoom expectations. So the first thing that we're going to do is remind the student via chat. It is a private chat to them, just a quick note like, hey, you know, get back on track, or keep your iPad still, etc. If that doesn't work, then we have the capability to either mute or to turn their video off so that it doesn't distract the other learners in the room. Then we'll usually find time to pull them privately into a breakout room and kind of have a conversation with them, see what's going on. You know, do they have to have their camera off because they were helping a sibling, etc., and kind of set up a protocol with them about what they can do if situations like that arise. Next, after we talk to the student, we will be reaching out to you, their parents and guardians, to kind of let you know what's going on. And lastly, we will reach out to administration if it seems to be an ongoing issue.
I'm going to kind of breeze through these because Ms. Rayfield and our leadership team did a really good job of explaining what Leader in Me is. I think the important thing is just for you to know that we're a Leader in Me school, and these are the habits that we are going to be emphasizing with our students. And we will be creating those digital leadership binders, and what we're going to be focusing on is goal setting and tracking those goals in our leadership binder, and then monitoring progress towards meeting goals.
So as you know, social emotional learning is important for all of us right now during this time. So this is going to be a priority for all the fifth grade teachers. We once a week, we have a second step curriculum that we follow, which really focuses on, you know, some set skills and strategies to help students navigate through some of those emotions that they might be experiencing, as well as some like problem solving skills that they can use and apply. More importantly, we're also going to be having morning meetings every day. This is a really, really important time for not only building community, but also just to gauge how students are doing. We have a mood meter every day where they can kind of check in with us and tell us how they're feeling, and we can kind of gauge the whole class and see if there's anything that we need to do. You know, so a couple of my students were feeling bored already at 8 o'clock this morning, so we did some exercises to kind of get them up and moving. But also it's really important if you guys could communicate with us. If there's anything going on at home, or if you're noticing something that you really want us to be aware of, it would be really helpful to reach out to us so that we can bring in extra supports if needed.
Very quickly, we're using the Eureka math program this year, as we have in the past. They should have received a Module 1 workbook inside their their bag of stuff that they received. We'll additionally be using Zearn and instructional videos there, along with videos from us. It's going to look very different once we start next week about what it looks like remotely, using that workshop model a lot. So we'll be pulling a lot of small groups. The assessments that we'll be using Seesaw, as our learning management for math. So you'll be able to see your students' work right then and there. They've also already been trained on it. With assessments, they will have their daily exit tickets that are going to be submitted to Seesaw, as well as a new program called Affirm that is on their iPads for mid-module, end-of-module assessments. As mentioned in the earlier presentation with Ms. Ashford, she mentioned to just let them do their best. It's really hard for us to gauge how students are doing if they're not working independently. So please, if they need help, please have them reach out to us, but avoid like sibling help and things. Lastly, any resources that you as parents might need to help them is on the fifth grade website. There's a parent portal newly revamped with lots of different resources there that you can click on. These are just an overview of our modules. This QR code, if you are interested on a second device, will take you straight to the website. But the different modules that are there, we'll be starting off with place value and decimal, and then moving through other decimal operations, fractions, and then ending with coordinate planes.
The next few slides, we'll be talking about ELA. This one is an overview of our reading curriculum. It's reading units of study. The acronym is RUOS. So if you see that on emails or posts, that's what we're talking about. RUOS is reading units of study. It's a 40-minute block, and it's really 3 parts made up of a mini lesson. It's about 10 minutes. And then a practice part where they go ahead and they take the concept taught that day and they put it to practice using the Good Fit books. There also could be small group work during this time and book clubs. And then the last part is the share, where we come back together and we will maybe have an exit ticket they'll have to perform or some stop and jots we'll look at. This is a preview of the units we'll be teaching. The first unit starts next week. It's analyzing themes in literature. We'll have a unit and a mini unit on nonfiction. And then unit 3 will be on argument and advocacy. That's a popular unit because we'll give them issues to debate. And that's usually pretty fun. And then the last one is unit 4, which is fantasy book clubs. Each unit's about 6 weeks. There will be a pre and a post assessment. We just did the pre for reading these last few days. Writing's coming up this week on Friday. And we just use that to determine proficiency and be able to show growth. And the lessons will be taught using the mentor text, and that's some of the that's the pictures of some of the texts we'll be using. Next slide, Ms. Nyman, thanks. This is a slide on differentiation. They get it 3 different ways. Whole class instruction, where that's what we talked about kind of during that the main lesson at the beginning. They're listening to their teacher as a group. Then there is small group instruction / strategy groups. When they go back to this can happen in breakout rooms now digitally. And sometimes it's one-on-one conferring with us, and sometimes it could be small strategy groups in rooms. It's more targeted instruction during that time. And the third one is interventions and enrichment. We call it ELA win time on the schedule. WIN stands for what I need. It's there on the bottom. And that's about a 40-minute block, 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And a lot of the first 30 minutes will be taken up by guided reading groups. And the last 10 minutes will be an interactive read aloud.
We will be continuing our work with Words Their Way this year. Last year, you might have noticed some of your children bringing home some of these like little mini flashcards to practice their spelling. It's not how we went and learned spelling when we were going through elementary school, where we brought home a list and memorized words and then had a test on Friday. Rather, this is really, we're able to recognize where students are in their understanding of different spelling patterns. And so we're able to notice where they need to improve and recognize new patterns. So we'll work with students this year, and we're really fortunate that this is an online program already. So students are able to work with them this way. And then, we'll be looking through their writing as well as maybe giving them a assessment once in a while, just to see if they're picking up on their new skills. And so that's why it's really great that we are actually really authentically able to recognize if they're learning these new patterns, because we can see it in other words than not just the words that are on their list. So writing units of study is very similar to the structure of reading units of study, where the students gather together for a mini lesson, which is usually under 10 minutes or less. They go and have some independent work, and then they come back together to have a share time. In writing this year, we're going to be starting with a narrative. So I've already kind of started with my homeroom. If there's any small moments that they want to share or talk about, I'm like, remember that for your first writing assignment. So if there's anything that you are noticing at home where kids are like, remember that time? Remind them that would be great to use for some of their drafts. So after narrative, we're going to move on to nonfiction writing, where we're going to be writing expository about the westward expansion. We might get to a memoir writing, but Mr. Schulte said, one of their favorite units is definitely the research argument essay. I don't know about you, but I know some fifth graders that like to argue. And then we end the year with fantasy, which is also a fan favorite. Similar to reading, they last about 6 weeks, and it's really nice in how they work with the reading units of study. So while they're researching in reading, they're able to apply that same type of formatting in their writing.
Right. I'm going to speak on social studies. So social studies doesn't have its own separate block. We integrate it into other subjects. We commonly integrate it into writing. Also, we do touch on reading, Common Core ELA standards, and we'll do a lot of social studies related content in our project-based learning. So our curriculum is based on the Illinois State Social Studies standards, and we will also incorporate the Common Core ELA standards. In addition, this year, we will be using the teaching tolerance standards and tools during the project-based learning and social studies time. We use anti-racist curriculum implemented this year, designed by our district, and that will be pushed out later this fall. We will cover things like Western expansion, and we've already started our identity projects. So we've started with name, we'll move into family history, and then we will move on to diversity after we finish our identity projects. And that leads us into project-based learning. So problem-based learning is each few weeks, students will have a project that they will work on. It focuses and promotes critical thinking, communication skills, problem solving, and then student voice and interest. Some of the cross-curricular topics that we will cover are election, space exploration, climate change, and we have many more, and that's where we would like to hear from you, our parents. If you have any ideas or resources that you would like us to implement during our PBL time, please reach out to us, your child's homeroom teacher. We would love to hear from you.
Okay, science. Our science curriculum is based on the next generation science standards. And those standards are broken up into kind of 3 different areas: the science and engineering practices, the disciplinary core ideas, and the cross-cutting concepts. The main curricular resource we use is FOSS. And the big units or modules or big questions that we have 3 modules. The first one is Earth and Sun, which we will be starting next week. And you can see there are some of the big questions that we're going to be talking about. And then we'll move on to mixtures and solutions, and then to living systems. And this is going to be kind of a interesting and challenging year with remote learning. So what our goal is to be able to do some virtual investigations as well as some live investigations using some materials that you can find commonly at home. I'm going to talk a little bit about district assessments, and this is kind of ties to some of the things that you heard in the very first presentation. We are in the process right now of conducting our first round of some of these district assessments. So we will conduct assessments in reading, writing, and math. And right now we're doing those pre-assessments. And the reason we do those pre-assessments is, again, to really figure out where students are so that we can so it can inform our instruction, and we can kind of give the kids what they need in terms of additional supports or enrichment if that's what they need. So we'll do those benchmark assessments 3 times a year. And then in reading that, we're doing the pre and post, the pre-assessment right now. And then the benchmark assessment will be a one-to-one conference between students and teachers. Writing, they'll do the on-demand prompts. And then in math, as Ms. Ninan said, they'll be using Affirm for the pre and post assessments. And we'll do the benchmark assessments using something called AIMSweb.
Homework. I've gotten more than a few emails on this already. So we are decided this year as a group to not give homework. We figured that 7 hours on the screen is enough time for them. We are encouraging them to finish any of the day's assignments that may have not been completed, but there's no work to do additionally at home. We just want the kids to take a break, get outside, sharpen the saw, to use Leader in Me lingo. But we also want you to do additional work if it's necessary. So we advise read a book, fill out your reading logs, those are still going home, practice your math facts, play math, family math games, stuff like that, but there will be no homework this year.
Okay, communication. So if you have any questions or concerns, make sure to email us. Like said earlier in the presentation, we might not be able to get to you during the school day as we're pretty much tied to this Zoomosphere, but we will definitely get back to you either before school or after school. Some of the other ways that you can kind of get insight into our classrooms is Seesaw is going to be used as a way of just uploading student work to their portfolios, and we'll also be able to upload some of those pieces of work into a class blog. And so you should have got an invite from your teacher, your child's homeroom teacher for Seesaw. Also, the best part to get information is our Week at a Glance. So every Friday we'll be sending you this Week at a Glance, which is a newsletter, an in-depth newsletter, which will give you information about what we're going to be teaching in the following week, as well as any important notices or dates that you need to be aware of. The 5th grade website has been fantastically redesigned by Miss Ninen, and so everybody should just go and take a look just for fun right after this. But it's really great and so easy to use, but it has everything from tech help to those Week at a Glances in case it got lost in your email, resources, how to teach your child that math that you didn't grow up learning how to teach or learning how to do. It has a lot of great things, so that's definitely a great resource to have.
Okay, and conferences. All parent-teacher conferences will be held on Thursday, October 22nd, and you will be, we'll send out a Sign Up Genius soon. Am I talking about this too?
Ms. Wells?
Oh.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. So acronyms, I struggle with acronyms, so I thought I would go over the acronyms. ELA is for English Language Arts. LIM is Leader in Me. PBIS is our system, Positive Behavior Interventions and Support. PBL is Problem-Based Learning, or you may also hear Project-Based Learning. As covered by Mr. Schulte, RUOS is Reading Units of Study. You've heard about WIG, that WIG is wildly important goal. Same with WIN, that is our intervention and enrichment block, what I need. WTW is Words Their Way, and as Ms. Corcoran mentioned, WUOS is Writing Units of Study.
All right, thank you all so much for coming. Please reach out to your homeroom teacher via email if you have any further questions. We're so looking forward to working with you in partnership this year. We know that we will have to work together so much more closely this year than we have in years past. Please visit that beautiful 5th grade website for more information. And we did record this, so if you feel like you would like a copy of the recording, reach out to your homeroom teacher via email. It takes a little bit of time for Zoom to download the recording, but we will share that with you as soon as we can. We'll be closing the meeting at this time, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.